Trojan Sports Now.
Hello and welcome to Trojan Sports Now. I'm your host Ryan Renfro, and today we are joined by women's basketball head coach Chanda Rigby. Coach Rigby,
Hi.
thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh yeah, enjoyed it. Yes.
Awesome. Now, what I want to talk about today is a little bit about this season. I know you guys just recently started practice.
Yes.
And I also, before we get into that, I do want to talk to you about this past season. You and the Trojan team won the Sun Belt Conference Championship. And can you just talk about, I know it was a while ago, but talk about how that felt to bring home the Sun Belt trophy.
Well, it was amazing. I mean, we had put that out there early that that's what we wanted to do, was to put Troy on a national stage by getting to go to the NCAA tournament and to win the Sun Belt Championship. And we were able to do it at the end. It wasn't a smooth sailing season all the way through, but at the end we were able to rise up and do it. So it was just a great experience.
How big was that experience for the women's basketball program?
It's huge. As far as recruiting and the future generations of Trojans coming through to play women's basketball, it ups the ante of what type of player that we can get here at Troy. Because before I was just saying we were going to do it, and you know that's only a recruiter saying that. But then after you've done it, they can look at it and say, okay, she said they were going to do it, they did it. That's legit. You know?
And even for the players, I think too, you know, going there, competing on that stage, the national stage, you're like, in your mind, we made it, let's do it again.
Right, hopefully it just makes us hungry to do it again. Of course, you always fight the big thing when you win of complacency. You can't have 1 second of complacency. We were so hungry to get there. We had such an underdog fighting spirit, but we want to keep that underdog fighting spirit and get back to the tournament and fight our way. And instead of just going and being one and done, be competitive in that tournament.
Now, that kind of let's move into this season, talking about that. Since you guys played on that big national stage, how important is it to stay humble and to say, you know, we can do this again, but we got to take it game by game moving into this season? It's
everything. I mean, being humble, I think, is the key to being great. And so, you know, we just have to keep talking about that. The girls are remaining pretty humble. We're into our we just had our sixth practice this morning, so we're at the beginning of the season. But we got the two H's, humble and hungry. You know, we have to stay those two things. So
now moving into this season, like you said, you guys recently started back practice. How's the team looking so far?
Up and down. First of all, we're very talented. We lost Ashley Beverly Kelly last year, but we have 7 seniors returning this year. So we should have a group of players that know what they're doing and have good leadership skills. So they look good. We're trying to set some new goals this year. We averaged 82 points a game last year, which led the Sun Belt Conference. We were number 7 in the nation. We're trying to average 90 points a game this year. I've kind of worked it out how I want to do it, how many more three-pointers I want us to take, how we want to play even faster. So we're stretching ourselves. We're not doing anything that's comfortable. Every day at practice, we're striving for new goals.
So so walk me through. In order to accomplish those goals, what's kind of the everyday, you know, the practice? Is it very fast-paced, up-tempo, or?
Very fast. Even our slowest things, even if we're running a full court trying to teach, we still have a shot clock on at 7 seconds. So as you know, the women's shot clock is at 30. We want to have scored 3 times before that 30-second shot clock has gone off. And if you do the math, we try to score 15 points every 5 minutes. We actually have drills geared towards that. So if you do the math, if we acclimate ourselves to score 15 points every 5 minutes, we would score 120 points in a game. And I know that rarely would ever happen, but that's what we're striving for.
You guys really did. I mean, the offense obviously was clicking last season. I mean, what's the difference, I guess, between last year's team and this team? I know you got, like you said, just started practice. You may not have seen too much yet, but from what you can gauge so far, what's the big difference between this year and last year?
Well, hopefully we're first of all, in the post position, we have a lot of depth, and we have bigger players, more agile players, and then the ones that are returning, like Caitlin Ramirez, just the experience she has gained, you know. So the post position is much more deep than I've ever had since I've been here at Troy. No comparison. But also we're trying to be more versatile. We used to do things like when we got the ball off the glass, we would get it to an outlet. That sort of slows the process up. Now we're trying to have every player dribble it out, dribble it up the court, get it out faster. We're doing everything we can to play faster.
Now, going back to Caitlin Ramirez, obviously a huge player for the past couple of years, huge player last year in that big game with the block heard around the world. Talk about her, you know, losing Ashley Beverly Kelly, losing ABK. How is Caitlin Ramirez going to step up into this team?
Well, it's so different because Ashley, of course, was a guard and Caitlin is a post player. But in leadership, she has to step up. She knows the right thing to do. She's played at a high level before. She's gotten it done at a high level before. She knows what it takes, and she's going to have to direct everybody else in what to do. And she's pretty good about it. She's vocal, so she's pretty good with it.
Now, you mentioned earlier she's not alone in the senior category. 6 other seniors. Talk about the senior leadership on this team and how much that's going to impact its performance.
Well, I think the leadership on this team, I think a good way to put it is that we have a leader for everybody on our team. We have 7 players, and they're all very different. None are alike. So all of our younger players, hopefully they can, attach with one of them and feel at home with one of them and take guidance and leadership from one of them. Kristen Emerson is a totally different player than KG Gill. They're just different players, and they hopefully we have a leader for everybody on the team.
Gotcha. How often, I do want to ask, that brings up an interesting question, how often does that happen? When you have like a new player on the team who maybe looks up to someone that is a completely different player, but they kind of look up to that. How often do you have that?
Well, you want to have it, especially, our seniors, again, they know the ropes, they know the right way to go, and we need them to show the younger ones. So we want them to have those bonds with the older ones. And again, I think we have a good group. I don't know if they've all settled into their mentors or their role models yet, but they're there, and we're trying to see those bonds form.
Gotcha. Now, does the team hang out like outside of practice? Are they pretty close knit? I mean,
yes, yeah. they do. They do a lot together on their own, and also we have them do a lot together. We often have recruits in, and we're always doing fun things and team building activities, and and it just builds you closer and closer.
And you mentioned earlier the practices early in the morning, the workouts that you guys have had. How much does that, going through that with each other, build camaraderie among the team, the players on the team?
Well, the more you, I think the quote goes, the more you sacrifice, the harder it is to surrender. So we have those early morning workouts, and again, it's not like they're just off the rest of the day. When they get out of class, they come back, they have shooting workouts, they have conditioning. And, it's a full-packed day, and they've worked hard together, and they've sacrificed a lot together, and hopefully it'll be very hard to surrender together.
Awesome. Now, you guys move into the beginning of the season. You guys have Auburn in the first game of the season. Talk about that, what it means to play, that caliber of an opponent.
Well, Auburn is, they went too deep into the NCAA tournament this last year. I think they're picked in the preseason in the top 25. I think we played 3 teams that got picked in the top 25 in preseason, them, Tennessee, and Villanova. So that's a pretty great schedule, and we also have 4 other teams on our schedule that went to the NCAA tournament. So this is the toughest pre-conference schedule we've had since I've been here at Troy. It's the most challenging, but we have our sights on Auburn. I mean, they're a very good team. They do some very good things, and they have great athletes, but we'd like to pick them off, and we're working for it every day.
Just talk about like the overall feeling of this team with the season coming up, like Auburn and all these high caliber opponents on the schedule. How excited are they to get this season underway?
Well, we're really excited because we're always, ever since I've been here, we've been looking for ways to break records or do something no one else has done before. So this year you look at it, what could we do that hasn't been done before, since I've been here at Troy? And one of them is, of course, to repeat a championship. That would be nice, and to go further in the NCAA tournament. But even before that, to knock off one of those top 25 opponents. I haven't done that since I've been here. My teams haven't done it since we've been here. We've been very close. We went to Alabama a couple years ago. We took them to overtime, lost on a buzzer shot. But I think that's the next step. We need to knock off one of these higher tems.
You guys certainly can. I mean, the talent of this team. I mean, even going back to last season and then seeing the senior leadership on this team with Caitlin and the other 6 seniors on the team. I mean, it's definitely going to be an exciting season to watch.
Right, and you never know which one will step up. You got Clarissa Banks. She's just ready to go. She came here last year off of a knee injury, and she really did a lot more last year than we thought she would. Her first year off a knee injury, but now she's fully healthy and ready to go. So much experience, so much fight in her. That's just one of the seniors. They all have a lot to bring to the table.
Now, I do want to real quick. Are there any freshmen or sophomores that you may be looking to step up? I know a lot of times when the season gets going, someone catches your eye like, man, she's pretty good.
Yeah, we had two local freshmen last year that are now sophomores. Amani Upshaw is from Brantley. And she's doing an amazing job. She listens really intently about what we want, and then she really gets it done on the court. And we've been emphasizing rebounding, and she's in there just beating everybody up every day to go get the rebound. So that's very important when we have a team that's striving to shoot 80 shots a game. If you shoot 40%, there's going to be over 50 rebounds to be had on your end. So somebody like that's committed to the rebound is important. Latia Filsamy is from Delville, right down the road, and she's doing a great job. She's a post player. She came in off the bench in the championship game and had 10 points and 10 rebounds in less than 10 minutes in the championship game. So we want her to pick up from where she left off and come on in here and help us this year.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck against Auburn first game of the season. Thank you for tuning in as well. Once again, be sure to stay up to date on all Troy sports on Troy Trojan Vision Nightly News. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and go Trojans.